want to make this cube to move is going to be, we're going to make it fall. Okay, so if we move this cube up, we want it to be, to physics to be applied to this cube so it falls in this plane. Okay, notice that if we press the play button right now, the editor becomes a bit darker and, well, it loads a little bit and we can see that these buttons, they became blue. Okay, that means that the scene is live. So what we see here is a live simulation of our game. So if we make this game to run on an Android device, or if we generate a desktop build, whatever build we can imagine, what we see here in this window is going to be what the players are going to see. Okay, so this is the actual simulation. But, well, the cube is not falling. Okay, why is this happening? This is happening because we need to specifically tell Unity that we want this cube to respect the laws of physics. And to do this, we need to change this a little bit. So in our hierarchy, we're going to select this cube, okay, here. And if we go to the inspector, we're going to see that we have a few components. We have transform, mesh filter, box collider, and mesh render. What we want to do here is add a new component. We're going to add a rigid body. To add a rigid body, we're going to go to this button here, add component. We click on it, and you notice there's going to be a little searching area, and we're going to search for rigid body, and then we click here in this rigid body, and you notice that there are some settings in here. So we have mass, drag, angular drag, use gravity. So all of these things that we see here, they are related to physics. Okay, this means that this is going to respect physics. The object is going to fall if there's something in the way. Well, it's going to hit these things and it's going to rotate. Okay, so all of these things are going to be considered. So by just adding this rigid body, if we press the play button, the cube basically falls, okay, to this place. And notice, however, that the particle system, it's a bit odd that it comes, that it goes to the left. Okay, so we can just go to the particle system and then let's change a few things here. So we're going to change its rotation to be, let me see, 90 on X, actually minus 90 on X, minus 90 on Y, and 90 on Z. Okay, this is going to work well. And, well, we can remove the delay, so we can set that to 0. So when the cube falls, well, all the particles are going to follow as well. Okay, and you might notice that if you come here and if you rotate this cube, okay, so if we go to this hierarchy here, select the cube and change its rotation on X to 45, Y to 45, and Z to something like 40, for example, and you press play, as the cube hits the floor, it starts kind of tumbling to the other sides, okay? And if we want to make this even more interesting, we can change the cube's position to somewhere higher, and we can add some other cubes in here. Okay, so this cube collides with the other ones. So for example, if I go here, select 3D object, and then, better yet, let's use a sphere. Okay, we have this sphere here. And if we want to make the cube to collide with this sphere, we can just position it right under this, the cube like this. Okay, so we have this one here. We can press the play button. So the physics is simulated, the cube touches this sphere and now falls to the side. So we can do a little physical playing here. Okay, we can just reposition these spheres to other positions and kind of watch the cube to fall. Okay, and to duplicate these spheres that we're adding, we can just hit Ctrl D, Command D, or just right click and select duplicate. Okay, so you just position these things to whatever you want. Okay, so it's a very simple simulation. We can see physics being applied, the cube is falling and tumbling to other places, and we have a particle system. So it's a very, very basic simulation. Okay, so that's pretty much it for this video. And notice that when you set up a scene, you need to save it. Okay, notice that in our hierarchy, at the top of everything as we see here, at the top of all of these game objects, we see that there is an untitled element here, because this is the actual scene. The scene contains all of the game objects, all of its hierarchy, it's right here. So it says untitled, and we have this asterisk that means that this scene hasn't been saved. So to save it, we can just go to File, hit Save Scene, and give whatever name we want. So we can just call this, for example, game.unity. Okay, so in our assets folder, we now have a file called game.unity. Okay, so, well, that's pretty much it for this simulation.